everyone, Nikki's here. I know it's been a long time that I last made a video, but I've been dealing a lot with school and migraines. And whenever I have migraines, I just kind of lock myself away because the pain is unbearable and I can't think of anything else rather than just focusing on making it better, and it takes a lot of time. But I'm here today. I'm feeling good. I don't have a migraine. I just finished my exam and I did really well. So I wanted to come here to make a video just touching base with you guys on how I've been doing with GERD and acid reflux symptoms. And I can tell you that I've been doing a lot better. To be honest, my migraine have been affecting me more than GERD. So that's the good news, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the GERD symptoms and how my tips on what to do to make it better and things like that. So let's get started. First, I wanted to bring up the topic of how and why in the first place we get acid reflux and heartburn, or in another word, GERD as well. So what's the difference between heartburn, acid reflux, and GERD? So pretty much heartburn is the feeling that you get when you get acid reflux, is that burning sensation. A lot of people have it like up here on your chest, but then for me, a lot of the time I have the pain a little lower, like in the middle here, right where your rib cage ends. So like in the middle here where your stomach starts, and then that's where the esophagus ends, and then it's meeting the stomach pretty much. So that's where I usually get pain, and it makes sense because the anatomy of our body is that you have your throat, and then you have this two-coat esophagus that going down to, let me see, like about here, and that's where your stomach starts, and there's a sphincter, pretty much is the door that opens and closes right where your esophagus ends and where your stomach begins. And it makes sense because you don't want to have like a continual of that tube without the door, pretty much, because your stomach has acid that it used to digest your food, and that acid is very erosive to your esophagus and is not built to ever have contact with acid, and that's why the door, the sphincter, is there to close right after your food been moved down to your stomach, and it is to also prevent the backflow of acid up to your esophagus. Your esophagus, the lining is very how do I say it? It's like it's epithelial tissue that is very sensitive to the acid, and your sphincter is actually able to handle the acid because it's the door, right? So how we got acid reflux from the first place, because I wasn't born with this disease at first, and I was fine all the way up until like 19, 20. That's when my worst symptoms started, and I never thought of like, oh, how did it start? What did I do to make this happen? And or is it just happen out of nowhere? And I never really think about it truly, like deeply finding the cause. I was just so consumed in like treating it and finding the way to resolve it. But these days when I have time to think about it now, and because I'm better, right? I've been fine for the last 5 months that I never had to touch a pill, and life has gotten so much better, to be honest, and I want the same thing for you guys. So let's continue talking about this. So I did some thinking, and I think this is the cause. I'm pretty sure. So 18, 19, right? I was in college. I came to the US, and I was living by myself with some friends. And it was really fun going out partying all the time, and I did a lot of drinking. I drank a lot of alcohol, and we out partying late, drink a lot of alcohol, and when we got back, this is like 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm sharing this with you guys just to be very honest. And after drinking, you usually want to feel better by eating, right? So I would be eating, I don't know, like unhealthy food like pizza, chicken wings, whatever, and then go to sleep right away. And that's how usually it works when you go out partying, drinking, and then you eat, and then, like go to sleep with a full stomach. So I think I did that a lot, and then the next day when I wake up, I would get headaches and the usual symptoms you get after a heavy night of drinking. And that's when I would be taking painkillers, and I think Advil is the one that works like amazingly all the time. And so just that cycle of bad habit and unhealthy food, and it's really bad for your stomach. Like when you eat a big meals and go to sleep, the pressure of your stomach, because you don't give your stomach enough time to digest the food, so it's still there, and then you lay down, and especially if you sleep on your stomach, like imagine that pressure, that pressing on your stomach can like really push the food and the acid up closer to the sphincter. And over time, I believe that, and I read this in several articles, that your sphincter, that door that open and close between your esophagus, the lowest sphincter is more important. You have two sphincter, one up here and one down here. So the one that is closer to the stomach, over time it will get weakened by that pressure of eating late, eating a lot, and go to sleep. And also alcohol relaxes the sphincter, and that's how your acid like sip up, like moving up and able to get to your esophagus, your lower esophagus. And that's how it's slowly get damaged, and that's where the pain that you feel from down here or up here, because your esophagus down there is getting inflamed by getting in contact with the acid. So that is done with how and why we got acid reflux in the first place. And so what is GERD? GERD is the long-term acid reflux or heartburn, pretty much. So acid reflux and heartburn should not last for more than a week. So people that has heartburn symptoms for like 2 weeks, over 2 weeks, over months, and that's when you diagnose with GERD. And then GERD is a bit harder to treat, and it really requires a lot of commitment and determination from you, as in changing your habit, your daily habit of eating smaller meals, and then don't lay down right away after you eat, don't eat late, exercising, and also eating healthy food. And then that's going to take me to start the second topic, is the triggers of heartburns and acid reflux. So let's start. It is really hard to kind of find the triggers, because everybody is different, everybody's bodies is reacting to different things, but definitely certain triggers are very common for everyone that has this acid reflux problem, right? Such as alcohol, acidic food, drink, people who smoke. And that I am very big on diet, just because I found that it's had helped me tremendously with GERD. So that's why I wanted to go to speak to you about this, so that you can be a bit more serious, and I will tell you that all the things that I did wrong and what I did right, so that you can maybe try that. So the triggers, definitely for me, my trigger is mint. Anything minty, even like mouthwash. I cannot use mouthwash, because just that little bit of mint, like in my mouth, would trigger my lower esophagus, actually the sphincter, sorry, corrected, the lower sphincter to be relaxed. And you do not want your sphincter to be relaxed, because that means your acid can sip up. Acid, you're supposed to have acid in your stomach. I cannot stress this enough, because you need your acid to digest your food properly. So if you take these medication that suppress the acid, it's not good. But then in the period that your symptom is at the worst, you do need to take this medication, so that you can let your esophagus to heal. But after it is healed, and you will feel it, you will feel that you have less symptoms, this is when you should stop taking this medication, and slowly, just by dieting, eating the right food, the healthy food, and staying away from food that's triggering your lower sphincter to relax, will help. And then slowly like I really mean by slowly, like months at a time, you can slowly introduce those food that you're not able to eat before. Like these days, I can eat a little bit like tomato, right? I do love tomato, but before it really gives me a lot of discomfort and pain. But these days, when I'm better now, I feel like my esophagus heal. Slowly, I introduce a little bit, maybe like 1 or 2 days out of the week, I can add a little bit of tomatoes into my diet, and I'm okay. So that's how it's supposed to work. And I can make another video talking about how to slowly introduce certain food into your diet, but definitely stay away from the food that can really trigger and make your lower sphincter relax. So foods that makes your sphincter relax is mint. Stay away from mint, chocolate, fatty food. What else? Alcohol. Definitely stay away from alcohol. I cannot stress this enough because 5 months I've been fine, right? And then this weekend we went out for a friend's birthday, and I couldn't control myself, so I had one sip of beer. One sip, and literally 20 minutes later I can start to feel the discomfort. So I stopped right away. It's not worth it. Don't do it. And yeah, spicy food as well. I have a weird trigger. It's black peppers. So black peppers does it every time for me, so I stay away from it completely. But slowly these days I can try to introduce like sour food into my diet, and I'm okay. But again, like, don't push it. If you feel like, oh, it's starting to give you symptoms, stop it right away. Okay, so that completed the second topic that I wanted to talk about, is the triggers. And then I want to move into the next thing, is the level of your symptoms. So your levels of symptom can vary from people, and some of the comments that people leave for me explaining how much pain they're in, it makes me feel so bad because I've been there before. But levels of pain can really varies for different people. So some people would get pain, some people would get gas, burping a lot, and some people would get indigestions feeling as well. So it's very different. And if you feel like you're in a lot of pain that is starting to affect your life, your daily activity, then you should go see a doctor. I would really recommend you find a good doctor. Go, of course, hopefully you have insurance. I used to not have insurance, so that's why I let it accelerate to a really bad level, and it took me a longer to fix it, just because I let it develop into a worse stage. So definitely go to see a doctor if you're in a lot of pain. They will definitely hopefully can just give you some medication to suppress the acid so that your esophagus can heal. And then stick to that diet of just eating bland food, no fatty, no oily, no spicy, no sour, no alcohol food. I know it's miserable to be eating those food because it's really boring. I know, but then slowly you will get used to it, and then you can find that it's actually better for you, and it tastes pretty good to taste the actual food, and not just like drenching it in sauce and fats. So you get used to it, and the reward is that you won't get any of the symptoms. You won't be in pain, so it's worth it. So that's concluded the symptoms. Sorry, I'm looking down here just because I have my notes. And then, so treatment is really depends on the person again, because certain treatments will work for me but then won't work for you. And again, just the same as the triggers, some will be my triggers, but I've talked to other people who have GERD as well, and for example, black pepper is not a trigger for them, so it is for me. But the very common triggers for everyone is usually chocolate, mint, coffee, caffeine, smoking, alcohol. Those things stay away, because it doesn't matter what, even if your esophagus heal, but you still like sensitive to those, and it's definitely always relaxes your sphincter at the lower esophagus, and that will definitely bring up the acids. So treatments depends on the level of discomfort that you have. Doctors can prescribe you those medication to suppress your acid for 14 days or even longer, but definitely don't stay on it for too long. As soon as you feel the improvement, talk to your doctor so that you can slowly get off the medication and starting to just using natural remedies like certain herbal. So I talked about I love licorice, but I don't overdo it. So as soon as I feel better, like I stop. And then again, just your diet is so important, guys. So definitely stick with your diets. And the most important thing also is just to listen to your body. If you eat something that makes you sick, stop. Don't continue. And then I know it's really hard, especially with alcohol, because it sucks. Like I went to two weddings, and one of them it was so much fun. Everybody was having fun. So I had a couple of drinks and I had so much fun. But then a couple hours later, I regretted it right away. So the recent wedding of a friend of mine had a wedding in September. I did not have a single drink. I think I had one. But then again, I regretted it. But my symptom was not as bad just because I've been healing. But yeah, definitely just stay away from those that makes you hurt, you know. Sorry guys, so my camera just cut off, turned off by itself for some reason. So I think I missed a couple of points, but I just want to finish real quick by saying and mention this one thing to you because it's so important, is that you should be more serious about treating your GERD or heartburn symptoms, especially when you have been having this for a long time. Because if you let this happen for longer, saying like it's been happening for years and you still are in pain and having these symptoms, then just imagine you're in pain, your stomach is in pain too, and your esophagus is in pain. All your organs in the stomach is, being stressed out by this thing. So it can definitely turn into cancer cells and give you stomach cancer. This is real. Like, look it up. I've been researching this and it freaked me out. That's why I've been really, really serious about this. And just sticking to my regimen of eating healthy, staying away from alcohol and certain things that I mentioned. So I just want you to do the same so that none of you will ever have, the serious stage is turning into stomach cancer. So please pay attention and be serious about your diet, your treatments. And that is it. I'm not gonna keep you here for too long. I'll see you next time, and if you have questions, let me know. Bye. Have a good one.